We are live. Okay, so today we got a subto deal in Houston. It's a hybrid deal, so there's gonna be a seller finance portion of it, so we can plug this in and get a little bit of practice on figuring out how to take advantage of this property. So 29559 Usonia Drive, Spring, Texas, 77386. Purchase price $465,000. The interest rate is 2.37. So there is a seller carry portion of this deal, which means that there is a principal balance that's remaining on the subject to loan, but then there's also a equity portion that the seller is going to be financing to the buyer that makes up the $465,000 purchase price. And that's being carried at 0%, which we also call as principal only payments. Now, the main number that you want to take when you underwrite this deal is this 2697 number. This 2697 number, hey, Catherine, you are very welcome. 2697 is the total number. Entry fee is 48,750. So let's get some details. 4-bed, 3.5 bath, 3 spaces for garage, 3,000 square feet, 3,051 ARV. There's an HOA. Cash the seller or the agent, $33,750 and a $15,000 assignment. This is the PITI breakdown, 2413. Seller carries 236. HOA is 48. Total payment is 2697. Is that what I got? Okay, 2697. Great. Long-term rental apparently is 2995. Okay, and this is the loan detail. Started in 2051, so when we populate the loan details later, we're going to use 2021, assuming it's a 30-year loan. 331,629,267. Carry portion is 8493. I'll show you guys how to punch that in later. All right. So first thing I do for every single property is I try to gauge a very general understanding of the property condition. Let's see. Let's see if this will pop up. Do a quick refresh. There we go. Flooring looks good. Kitchen looks good. I might argue that you might not even need to paint the place. You could try to replace the carpets in the bedroom just to kind of get rid of it. But for the most part, the painting looks pretty good for the most part. I might not even think I need to paint the entire place. So I might just use half the square footage as a general assumption going in. And I'm going to use the third of the square footage for the bedrooms to replace the carpeting. All right. Quick street view to see what's going on. This looks very much suburban neighborhood. Doesn't If I had to guess, the crime score shouldn't be so high. So let's go to tophap.com, tophap.com. Once you plug in the address, click on neighborhood, and then on the far right, it's a 28. That's probably the lowest crime score I've seen, to be honest with you. So very, very safe neighborhood. Great. Next thing we want to do is we want to get the fair market rents or the county FMR. So this is in Montgomery County. So when you Google HUD FMR, you can click on the first link up there, scroll to the bottom, click access to small area FMRs, click look up FY 2024 small area FMRs, and we're going to go to Texas. This is in Montgomery County. Boom. And now we're going to see the rent by zip code, by bedroom count for every single property. This is in 77386. 77386, and you'll see right here that the ceiling rent is 3210. Let's write that down on our thing. 3210. And then the 3-bedroom rent is 2500. Okay. 2500. Zip code was 77386. 77386. I'm gonna copy that down. I like to just note all my rent from my research because my partners already pretty much understand how I underwrite the deals. So this is going to save them some work when they go ahead and underwrite the deal. Now that I have the ceiling rent, right, of 3210 and the 3-bedroom rent 2500, I'm going to care about the 3210. But I'm going to take the address and I'm going to go to affordablehousing.com. I'm going to go to the owner section, click on market rent estimator. That'll bring you to this page right here. Plug in the address, plug in the bedroom count, and you're going to get the ceiling rents here on the bottom right. Okay, I mean the market rents. And you see that here, the rent on average for 24 units within the 0.39 mile radius. That's actually a pretty low rent compared to what we're thinking. But let's go ahead and plug this in. Now, at this point, 2463, 2463. Just in case for those that are watching on Instagram, you want to see the full screen version, go to youtube.com/@Kent, KENT_HE. 2572, 2572, 2502. And then the county rent for this property is going to be 2330. 2330, and that was 0.39 mile radius. Now, if you went ahead and underwrote this property using the rent ceiling at 3210, you would be grossly overestimating the rents. Why? Because there's a test. It's called the rent reasonableness test. And it essentially states that you cannot charge more rent to a housing choice voucher holder simply because they're a voucher holder for obvious reasons. Technically, the term is also you cannot charge more than unassisted units than what's determined, right? So that is going to be really, really important for you. Realize that 2,500 is probably closer to the rent that you're going to be able to charge. Maybe you can get 2,600, but to assume that you can get 3,210 when all the other properties in the area within a 0.39 mile radius, just to confirm the miles, yes, are only getting 2,400. That's going to be a hard sell to the housing authority. So just be careful when you underwrite. I don't want you to underwrite with overestimated rents that might cause you to lose money at the end. All right, so let's go ahead and plug in the numbers. So what do we have so far? Just to kind of recap, so far we looked at the property, we got the condition of the property, and we also did a quick street view. We got the crime score to realize that it's a very, very safe neighborhood. Then we got rent ceilings from HUD FMR so that we know what the rent ceiling is, but then we had to compare that to the market rent that we got off of affordablehousing.com so we can use the lower of the two for our rental assumptions. Now, can you get more rent than what the average market rent is? Sure, but I wouldn't make that bet unless you called the housing authority and asked them, hey, is there any possible way I can charge more than the market rent? They might say no, but then they might say, but if you do X and X and X, that's what you're looking for, okay? All right, so let's go back to this deal details and plug in the numbers. $465,000 is the purchase price. Let's go ahead and put that right in, 465. Again, for those that cannot see on Instagram, go to youtube.com/@Kent_HE. I'm plugging in renovations. So on this property, I'll say about $1,500 for the roof. I got $500 for cleaning up the landscaping outside. I'm going to use about 1,000 square feet. No, actually, let me do 1,500 because that's half of 3,000. I'm assuming only half the house needs to get painted. And I'm going to assume only a third of the house needs new flooring for the bedrooms. I'm estimating about $3 a square foot to paint the place and $8 a square foot to replace the carpet and put in LVP. Okay. Now I got some. I'm assuming our toilets are working. Someone's living there. I'm not even going to put in a high pressure flush toilet because this is going to be a very, very tight deal, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm not going to replace the water heater. I'm assuming that's working. I'm not going to assume there's any termite issues. So I got about $17.5K of rehab on this property, just so I'm setting that aside. Going down the flow, I got $25 for my rent, and now I'm going to plug in the loan details. So this loan detail here, let's plug that one in. PITI breakdown 2413. Existing loan 2.37. Where's my loan detail? There it is, 331,267. That's going to be put in there for loan 1. 331,267. Interest rate 2.37. Put that one in here, 2.37. And then we said that the start date was in 10/1/2051. So I'm going to put 10/1/2021. Okay. All right. Then there's a seller finance portion. So I'm going to put that in here in the funding loan 1, which is not the subto deal. Seller carry is 84,983. 84,983. Plug that one in. 0% interest rate. Start date is going to be 4. I'm just call it, can't backdate. So 3/19/2024. Okay. Is there a balloon? 3 years. No balloon. Okay, that's good to know. 30. Boom. All right. So now that I got the subto principal and interest and the loan, and the principal, I'm going to plug in my HOA fee right here. So what I care most about is this 2697 number, and they broke it out right here for you, 2697. This does not include the HOA, so I'm going to do $48 for the HOA first, down here. And I'm going to do equals 2697. Subtract the principal of the sub-2 loan, subtract the interest, subtract the principal of the seller finance fees, and that backs into how much my property taxes currently is. And it also provides me with the insurance number that the seller is currently paying on a primary residence property. Now, I always assume that when you turn a primary residence property into an investment property, there's generally a premium associated with an investment property. So I'm going to add an extra $35 for the insurance policy per month. I'm going to set aside 10% every single month for the maintenance. I'm going to have 8% for my property management. And I'm going to lower this vacancy because I'm assuming this is going to be a 3% vacancy, because I'm assuming if I get a family in here in a very, very low crime area, in a good area, their chances are they're going to want to stay a little bit longer. Now, here's the problem, right? Even before getting to the entry fee, this is now a negative $805 cash flow. You'll be losing $800 every single month by buying this as a property and using it for long-term rentals. That simply does not work. Even if you bumped it up to the ceiling at $3210, which is the rent ceiling, you're still losing $244 because of what expenses associated with the property. Okay? Now, let's see what other details do we have here. So we do a complete analysis. Where's the entry fee amount? Entry fee is $48,750 plus closing costs. So I'm going to do equals 48,575. I mean 48,750. Sorry. 48,750. Closing costs at 2.5%. I might lower that to 2%. Doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, the cash on cash return is not working because of the negative cash flow number. Now, some of you might say, "Hey, what if I get away with not doing maintenance? Can I lower my maintenance?" Sure, you can do that, but then you would be really chancing it on luck. In my experience, has always been something that always pops up in every single property, from hot water heaters, pool equipment, faucets leaking. Something's going to break in your home eventually at some point. So if you don't set aside at least 5 to 10% every single month of your rent, that's not being realistic. And most importantly, you think you are profiting, but you really aren't, because you're just one big repair away from losing your entire cash flow for a year. So just think through that and be really wise about how you budget for those expenses. Now, some folks might be tempted to do away with property management. I also don't recommend that, because what are you doing this for, right? I'm assuming most people are in real estate for financial freedom, freedom of time, so that you can choose to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. Well, that's not going to be possible. You're also the property manager. If there's an eviction, do you know the landlord-tenant laws well enough to go through the eviction? It's going to be completely up to you. But if you want to be a little bit more hands-off and have passive income, quote unquote, where all you're doing is just managing your property managers, then you got to budget that in the first place, because otherwise you will be buying yourself a job versus investing in real estate. All right. So this is why this is not a deal. Now, if I were to go through this entire deal again, and I always stress this, right? You have to understand what your investment criteria is. And this is not investment advice, full disclosure. I'm not soliciting any investments. I'm simply showing you the work that I'm doing every single day to build reps and get more consistent at analyzing deals. If you want to avoid burnout, once you determine your criteria, it's really easy to figure out, hey, maybe this is not a deal for me. As soon as I saw that this is a 2697 number, and I looked at the fair market rent on the rent ceiling through the HUD was at 3210, I was like, okay, that could work. But as soon as I saw that the market rent on the market rent estimator for affordablehousing.com shows that it was a 2463 average rent, that told me right away that this was not going to be a deal, because I knew that was going to be a negative cash flowing deal already. Because when you compare the 2463 to 2697, you already know you're in a deficit. And at that point in time, that is where I would have stopped analyzing instead of going through the numbers and walking all the way out. Because if you save 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes there, you're going to be saving yourself hours and hours when you compound it over the year. And that is going to help save you from burning out, so that you don't analyze so many deals over the course of the year just for you to have zero results and zero return on your time. You'll get experience for sure and the reps, but you would have done extra work analyzing deals that are not deals. I know this just because I practice over and over and I quickly realize, like, hey, what's the deal, what's not a deal? So that's how I quickly understand the whole concept. All right. So amazing. So that's what I wanted to cover with you today. I got this property and I wanted to analyze it really quick just because I know sometimes we see deals get posted from our community. So I hope everybody have an amazing night. And again, I do this so that all of you can simply copy my homework. It's as simple as that. Copy my homework, analyze the same property I did today using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me your email at investor.kenhe, and I'll send you the spreadsheet. I've been very fortunate to have been given the spreadsheet by other folks, and I just modified it to meet my own underwriting approach. But it's there. It's here for all of you. And my sincere hope is that you will copy what I'm doing, spend 18 minutes a day analyzing the deal, and you will be better than 95% of the world if you just analyze this every single day on a consistent basis. In this case, you're just copying my homework, but it's going to make your life a lot easier because sometimes we just don't know where to start. And I'm just giving you one option on how to get started so that when you build up your own YouTube channel, you will see and feel confident yourself that you know what a deal looks like when it comes across your table and slaps you across the face. Or if a partner ever asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? Well, you can point them to your own YouTube channel and say, I know this is a deal because for the past 171 deals I've analyzed, they were all not deals. Might that make you feel a bit more confident? I certainly hope so. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the live today. I'll be back here again tomorrow for day 172. Have an amazing night. I know it's getting late, but I got back in late. I'm traveling and want to spend some time with my daughter, so I hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today. That's what it's all about. Have an amazing day. Talk to you tomorrow.